Hong Kong student protesters have rejected an offer by the city's chief executive to hold talks amid massive opposition to a proposed extradition bill. On Wednesday, Carrie Lam said that she wanted to meet students to resolve the impasse between the government and demonstrators. But the student union at the Hong Kong University of Science and Technology said her gesture lacked sincerity.
And then she suddenly found two student unions to have any communication, but show no sincerity, and so that we think that she has is just a public show. Yeah, so we don't see why we should immediately accept this invitation, because of it's a private and a closed door communication, a closed door meeting. Yeah.
It comes as a street artist was charged today with assaulting police officers, criminal damage and disorderly behavior in a public place. This marks the first prosecution against an anti-government protester since those demonstrations began.
But that's done nothing to deter protesters, with more rallies planned for this weekend and a group of Hong Kong mothers holding a demonstration at Charter Garden this evening. Our correspondent Roland Lim joins us now. Roland, okay, first the demonstrations this weekend. Since, protesters broke into the Legico on Monday, are authorities or protesters anticipating violence?
Well, they are anticipating violence because the protesters themselves have said that they will escalate until their demands are heard. So we are gearing up for Sunday, when thousands are expected to march from Salisbury Square towards the West Kowloon high-speed rail network. Now, police are concerned, for example, that along the route that they might deviate from the authorized route that the police have given them, say onto Canton Road, which is actually, if you remember, Tsim Sha Tsui is a very busy tourist area, and this will put them in direct confrontation with mainland tourists and with possibly pro-Beijing supporters. They are also expecting another splinter group to try to break into the West Kowloon high-speed rail station itself to disrupt operations there. So police will definitely be on high alert. They will be deploying thousands of officers to watch these protesters closely, although organizers say this is but they are meaning to have, organizers say they are meaning to have a peaceful march.
We're expecting about 3,000 to 4,000 this evening. We believe that Hong Kong mothers stand for everyone in Hong Kong who are supporting our young protesters. We do not want to condemn them. We want to seek to understand and support them to fight against the extradition law. And we also want the government to respond to the 5 demands of the protesters.
Roland, can we expect more charges to be made against protesters soon?
Yes, police have in their crosshairs about 10 hardcore protesters who broke into the Legislative Council building, as well as vandalizing the building itself. Now, police say that these protesters are ready to do harm unto themselves or even be martyrs for their cause, with the aim of making the government look bad and to highlight their cause to the international community. So they say they are willing to sacrifice themselves. Police are worried that these agitators will create more trouble, so they are honing in on these people, and we are expecting more arrests to be made in the very short term. I have to say as well that what you're seeing behind me, and I haven't explained this yet, is about several thousand mothers here in Hong Kong concerned about the youth that are protesting at these rallies. Now, they are showing solidarity here today for these protesters. If I've spoken to many Hong Kongers, and they are of the opinion still on the side of these protesters. They sympathize with the actions they've taken, but not necessarily condoning the violent actions that some have actually decided to take upon themselves. And that's why these mothers are actually calling on the government to listen and to meet the demands of the protesters that we've seen on the streets in Lechko as well as in Admiralty. The state of mind of these protesters are also in question. We've had a Cardinal John Tong, he's head of the Catholic Diocese here. He says that youngsters here now are anxious and perplexed and confused to the point of despair, and he's saying that it's important that the government starts genuine communications, constructive communications, not just with the youngsters but with all sectors of the community as well, so that the rift of this extradition bill that has divided society here completely should help them come together again.
Roland, thank you very much for that update on the situation there out of Hong Kong. Roland Lim there reporting.